Hi, I'm Leo. I'm a jack of all trades, master of some, and I'm making a film. I'm in the third year of a 3-year degree in stop motion animation. Have you ever thought about how flipping through the pages of somebody's sketchbook is like peering through a gateway into their mind? Join these two friends on a journey of wonder, a celebration of creativity as a way of living, and a sort of love letter to the existence of the artist. Now, I've made my fair share of t-shirts on a miniature scale, and here's a bit of sharing what I've learnt. It all started with Juniper and Basil. These were the OG puppets that got me hooked on puppet making. Their t-shirts are simple, chest and back plate, separate sleeves, and they're made out of felt, so there's no need to sew any fiddly seams. The downside: very thick fabric, the clothing is sewn onto the puppet, so when parts of these guys inevitably broke, I had no particularly easy way of fixing them apart from taking them apart. Then there was Charlie. They featured in AJ's film, True Peace. This fabric is thicker nylon, it's stretchy, but it holds its structure quite well. I sewed this on the sewing machine, and I particularly like the contrast stitching on the sleeves, but the neckline still has some work to do because it was left raw and exposed. There was then this star guy, a puppet for display, a display of my ability to sculpt on a miniature scale. Look at these tiny tools. I made a carabiner out of air dry clay and a hammer and a screwdriver. The structural integrity of this fella is awful, but look at the miniature carabiner. On this t-shirt, I made sleeve cuffs and a neckline. I also used an iron, which massively helped with precision. I love the contrast between flannel and cotton in this puppet. So, I've got a pretty good bank of types of t-shirts as a basis to go off for making this new one. I like a defined shoulder and a sleeve that drops a good amount, also for it to sit on the hips. I alter a lot of my t-shirts this way, and I even made a tutorial in a zine I wrote, which is called Yeah, But We're Just Bros. It's a zine about T-boys for T-boys, and I wrote a panel on how it's hard finding clothes that fit your body in the way that you want as a trans person. It's given me a new level of attention to detail. So bearing this in mind, I started drafting and cutting a new pattern. In case you haven't put 2 and 2 together already, yes, this puppet is me. I like that art is an extension of the artist, so with this at the forefront of this puppet, I'm using scraps of fabric from a t-shirt of my own that I altered a while ago. I took time making a neckline. I find it easier to hem the sleeves before I sew them onto the body. It gives me a bit more precision with something quite fiddly. I attached the sleeves to the shoulders and embroidered on the butterflies that are drawn on the character design. I think butterflies are really cool, and so does this guy, especially if they're purple. This film is a blend of live action, stop motion, and 2D magic. Stay tuned for updates on puppet building, set making, and little bits of behind the scenes. See you soon.